Hello, I'm Brian Mckeon, partner at the JMB FLP. Today we'll be looking at Jim Cramers and his show Mad Money by comparing the stocks to his show of September 14th, 2009 against his own website, thestreet.com. Now again, I'd like to remind you this is merely a review of the show Mad Money and only looks at the upside plays from this show. And I'd like to remind you that all analyst recommendations are as of September 14th, 2009. Now, of course, on that night's show, there was only one stock picked, and that was Airgas, and that comes in with a good solid B rating. So that leaves you with a 3.0 out of 4 GPA, or a B rating. Now, if you look at my system, where I use 5 websites to determine the average analyst ranking, and one of the websites being used is thestreet.com, we come up with a 4.17 out of 5 stars, or a moderate buy. Now looking at the two systems side by side, you can see Airgas is clearly a buy at this time. So again, I'd like to remind you that all analyst recommendations are as of September 14, 2009. And I am not a licensed investment advisor, and the investments I am showing you today are what I'm doing for my friends and family's accounts. And I am not affiliated with CNBC or any of its affiliates or any of the websites used to determine these rankings. And I currently own none of the stocks discussed today. Now again, this is Brian Mckeon from the JMB FLP, and I'd like to end tonight's show with a slightly different aspect. Jim spent 10 minutes, roughly, on a special segment on the rating agencies, and I'd like to show you that segment.
Now that it's been almost a year since the decline and fall of Lehman Brothers, everyone's talking about what we've learned, what's changed, the important lessons we've taken away from its demise. But tonight, on the eve of the anniversary of Lehman's collapse, I want to talk about what we haven't learned, about the outrageous system that we've done nothing to fix, even though Lehman proved beyond a shadow of doubt that it's totally and completely broken. I'm talking about the work done by the credit rating agencies. First, I ask, why the heck do they matter? What's their function? And why on earth, after the Lehman debacle, do we still put any credence in what they have to say? The ratings agencies, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch, all gave top ratings to mortgage-backed securities, including the backed securities by Lehman, right up until the end, when they panicked at the low and destroyed all hope. Why didn't these allegedly independent ratings agencies warn us? I think we need to get rid of these people. We need to stop relying on them. They did nothing but harm here. They are really the last legacy of that terrible era that could still get us in trouble. The way the system works, it's amazing anyone ever trusted the rating agencies to begin with, let alone that people still do business with them or trust them at all. Think about this, their business model. Businesses pay the ratings agencies to rate their debt. You heard me correctly. S&P, Moody's, Fitch, they're all paid by the very companies whose debt and structured products they're supposed to be monitoring and criticizing. We wouldn't accept that system, say, for something as simple as the movies, right? We would never allow that. Would you ever go to a movie where the film critic, we knew he was being paid by the film studios? I saw that Whiteout yesterday. Jeez, that was a bad movie. Now when we have to spend $11 on tickets and $14 on popcorn, we wouldn't tolerate a newspaper that let advertisers buy entire stories and pay for coverage. No, it's only when it comes to your gigantic fees and tax dollars to high finance, where billions upon billions of dollars are at stake, do we accept that this is okay? I gotta tell you, it's a head scratcher, it's an eyebrow raiser. How does it make any sense at all? This is a big business, and I think it's all about pleasing your customers. From 2002 to 2007, revenues at the top 3 these ratings firms combined doubled from $3 billion to over $6 billion. Moody's had the highest profit margin of any company in the S&P 500 for 5 years in a row during this travesty. But I think it creates a system where anything can get a positive rating, right up until it becomes clear that no one in their right mind could possibly believe it. And then they downgrade. Look, the ratings agencies have said that while they are compensated by the issuers, they offer and issue objective ratings. I say, come on. It looks like the proof is in the pudding. The S&P explained the way the system works the best in an internal document from an actual employee of S&P in its structured finance division, and I quote, "It could be structured by cows, and we would rate it." Just look at the junk the ratings agencies produced leading up to Lehman's collapse. July 9, Fitch affirms its A+ rating on Lehman. July 11th, S&P tells us the persistent and ongoing pressure on Lehman's stock price in recent days has not had negative effects on Lehman's liquidity, funding, or client business. Funny, exact opposite happened. On July 17th, Moody's lowered long-term senior ratings of Lehman from A1 to A2, some downgraded, and still said Lehman's liquidity management and standalone liquidity position remain sound. September 10th, 5 days before the firm collapsed, Moody's placed Lehman's long-term credit on review. Said they were telling us liquidity remains firm and has not shown signs of material erosion. September 12th, right on the eve, S&P said its Lehman ratings, well, it said A for its long-term and A1 for its short-term counterparty credit ratings remain on credit watch, but no downgrade. And this was after Lehman's pre-announcement of a massive third quarter loss on September 10th. Then finally, on September 15th, when it was too late to cut, too late to matter, then S&P sliced Lehman's long-term counterparty credit rating. Then, from A to selective default. That's from A to F, friends. And Moody's cut Lehman's senior rating from A2 to B3. They simply refused to go negative until it was too late. You are now calling the ultimate F student a straight A kid right up until the end. They blessed the bad actors and, from what I can tell, did little to no due diligence on the loans that made up these mortgage bonds that so corrupted Lehman's inventory. And the ratings agencies are just one part of this chorus of misinformation. They exist in a sick, symbiotic relationship with Wall Street analysts, like those of UBS and Deutsche Bank, even my favorite Goldman, who hid behind the strong ratings of Lehman's debt to offer support and even recommendations on Lehman stock right up until it filed for bankruptcy. The analysts use the ratings agencies as an excuse to do no real work and to evade their own responsibilities. I want to select a single guy that was on TV all the time during that period, Mike Mayo of Callion. He's an analyst who, for some insane reason, gets tons of media attention. He was saying bye, bye, bye Lehman right into its collapse. On September 5th, with the stock at 16, he said it could go to 28. There's a price target for you. Talking about near-term pain and long-term gain from mortgage market relief. How about September 10th? What did Mayo say? The stock was then at $7.79. He reiterated his buy despite Lehman's $4 billion pre-announced third quarter loss. Then the next day, what does he do? He downgrades it to hold using an $11 price target. Of course, by that time, Lehman was at $3 and headed to 1. Mayo, relying on the work of the ratings agency, said liquidity and charges had seemed manageable. When Lehman filed for bankruptcy, he didn't issue a mea culpa. Hey, listen, there are no sorries in this game, are they? Just simply discontinue coverage. This is where we need real reform. This is what the president should be talking about. We need to get rid of these ratings agencies fiascos. So far, the SEC has done nothing. Even though Congress pressed the organization to assert more control over the credit agencies, and I know Ben Bernanke's not too happy about them either. Congress has been saying since 2002 we ought to look at. Even the Bush SEC, which is really the benchmark for bad SEC, said the system was broken in 2003. Still failed to issue any final rules to oversee these rogue actors. The Obama administration proposed some new legislation in July. Didn't even talk about it today. Nothing in it would seriously disrupt the current broken business model. That is wrong. We even got a ruling earlier this month from a New York federal judge, Shira Shilen. She was saying the ratings agencies don't deserve First Amendment protection for their work. It was a silly ruling, frankly, as someone who went to law school. I believe it will be overturned. But the judge could have used her power to destroy the current bogus model, or at least criticize it, where the movie makers pay the critics. Here's the bottom line. It has been a year since Lehman's collapse revealed to me what a travesty our current system of credit ratings is, but nothing's been done to fix it. And Wall Street continues to pay attention to these rating agencies, even though it's never been more obvious that they're bought and paid for by their clients, the very companies whose debt they're rating. The way I see it, they cannot be taken seriously. It's just an inherent conflict of interest and I don't like it. The system must be changed to one where the financial film critics are no longer paid by the movie makers.
Now, after seeing Jim's segment of what he said about the rating agency, let's see what he said on September 11, 2009. Now here's how his stocks rate against his own website, thestreet.com, on September 11th, and again on July 24th, and on August 7th,